This is Mick and the Fat Man, and we're talking life and music from the 60s through to the noughties. G'day everybody, welcome to Mick and the Fat Man Talking Music. I'm here with Mick and we're coming to you live from the Hurstville Civic Centre, where in fact on September the 4th, 1976, Cold Chisel was knocking out the tunes. When were you at the Civic Centre, Mick?
I think I was there in 1976, seeing Cold Chisel knocking out the tunes.
Really?
I suspect that that's their first show in Sydney.
Be up there. Be close.
Yep, and as I think I might have mentioned before that I saw Sherbet, Bo Diddley, and Cold Chisel on the one bill.
On the one bill
here at the Hurstville Civic Centre.
How was Bo?
He was good. With that bloody square guitar
Square
thing
guitar.
he had, yes. Lucille.
Oh, Lucille, yeah.
Which is interesting because that's the name that Negan gave his baseball bat covered in barbed wire in Walking Dead. Lucille.
Is that right?
There's a little bit of trivia for you.
Oh, after Bo Diddley's song?
I would suspect that's the case.
Yeah.
Because he used to bang out quite a little tune on his baseball bat.
There you go. That's fascinating. So, so Hurstville Civic Centre was a great little spot. Unfortunately, Mick, believe it or not, it's not there anymore. It's called the Hurstville Entertainment Centre.
Oh, that's fine. And look, I imagine it's still very entertaining.
Oh, I assume so, without doubt. So, Mick, what have you been listening to this week, mate?
I haven't gone out of my way to find anything new, but I have been put onto a few things that I'm going to be listening to, so I'll have something different to talk about next time. This week I went back to an oldie, Station to Station by David Bowie, both the single and the song and the album.
Yep.
Song's one of Bowie's longer ones that starts out with Carlos Alomar playing guitar and the treatment a little bit earlier than Heroes, but the same sort of treatment where a whole lot of disparate sounds are all mixed together to get a great intro. And you'll recall that Station to Station starts and sounds like a train,
like a choo-choo train.
Indeed.
There you go. Oh, that's good. That's great. Well, I've been listening to Alice's Restaurant by Arlo Guthrie.
I hear you can get anything you want there.
You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant, excepting Alice, that is, of course. And that sort of brings us to the great spoken word albums and songs that are around in the times. And I think you and I will both agree that William Shatner was probably the master of the spoken word song. He had a number. But just for your interest, if I have put up onto our recommended listening site a whole playlist of spoken words, and there's some classics there. Believe it or not, James Brown kicks off with a spoken song called King Heroin, which don't know much about. Billy Bragg's got one.
I might hazard a guess at the subject matter.
Got a guess. How about Talking Heads? They had a spoken word song which was Seen and Not Seen, and so did David Bowie.
Spoken word?
Spoken word. Future Legend, 1999 remaster, if the truth be known.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go so far as to call that a complete piece. It was more the intro to the song Diamond Dogs.
Oh, come on, man.
One verse. And in the death, as the last few corpses lay rotting in the slimy thoroughfare, the shutters lifted an inch in temperature. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep. What about Iggy Pop, A Machine for Loving?
There you go.
I listened to it.
It'd be good.
It's good. It's really good. And, of course, we've got William Shatner. As I said, the master of the spoken word, and I think...
what are some of Bill's songs?
Well, this one is called Common People. So, look, get out there, have a listen to some of these. Isaac Hayes is there, of course, as you would expect. Who else? Oh, Tom Waits has got one, Frank's Wild Years, which is another spoken word one. So, look...
Have you got Telly Savalas on that list, man?
Do you know what? I don't know that we do.
If a picture paints 1,000 words,
I know,
then why can't I paint you?
Johnny Cash is there with a spoken version of The Boy Named Sue. So look, do yourself a favour, get on there. The link will be in the show notes. Get on there and have a listen to some of the spoken word classics that'll keep you amused for hours. It's an extensive list. All right, Mick, so what are we pulling out of the Globite school bag this week?
Well, it's very topical that it's in the Globite school bag because it's a show that was great for us as kids, and it's a TV show called Countdown.
Oh, what an absolute corker. What a corker. And realistically, it was there from 1974 through to, what year did it go through to? I don't remember now. I did write it down, I thought, but obviously I didn't.
About 87.
87. Yep. And we religiously watched it. But let's have a quick look at the top 10 albums of 1974. And I think this is an interesting little list of albums. Band on the Run by Paul McCartney and Wings was the number one album in 1974, followed by Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John, followed by Hot August Night. Now,
that's becoming a standard appearance in this podcast.
There's a trio that will keep you amused, 2 double albums and a single album. There's 5 albums of listening pleasure there, straight up the bat. Followed by Caribou by Elton John. Not necessarily one of his stronger albums, but there's a couple of good songs on there, which are quite good. Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. Susie Quatro, Can the Can, Tubular Bells. Tubular Bells.
Long forgotten Tubular Bells, I'm afraid, but it was a wonderful album. Do you know what movie it was the soundtrack for?
The Exorcist.
Yes.
Indeed. I actually saw it live just recently at Parramatta. These 2 guys, whose name eludes me, but they actually do a live version of Tubular Bells. And the 2 of them literally run around the stage and play all the instruments. It's quite fun. And then they get to the end of the first side, Tubular Bells, and they said, okay, we're going off now to turn the record over. It's quite amusing. So it was quite good.
How do they go with the Neanderthal bit?
They just make grunting noises.
That you do.
It was really good. So yeah, Tubular Bells, and a favourite of mine is Tubular Bells 2. Not in the album, not in this thing, but gee, that had some good stuff on it.
Not terribly creative in the naming department.
No, but the bell was twisted a little bit differently than the original Tubular Bells. So yeah, it was different, all right.
Yeah. Mike had a series of all musical albums. Hergest Ridge is one that comes to mind, and that's again Sunk Without Trace.
Yeah, look, I don't think they've travelled well over the years. No, not at all. And then we get to the Sting. Do you remember the Sting?
The Sting, or
the movie
Paul
soundtrack.
Newman.
The movie soundtrack. Is the movie soundtrack, and then realistically another movie soundtrack, Jonathan Livingston Seagull.
Oh dear, we've mentioned him before.
Yeah, we have, and it was terrible. And then another sort of theme album, Journey to the Centre of the Earth, and I know we spoke about the myths and legends of King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table
at some length
before, but this is the prior to that, the Journey to the Centre of the Earth, which also went on tour and came out to Australia as well, I do believe. And they had, Stuart Wagstaff, I think from memory, did the commentary. You know, they talk. It was Stuart Wagstaff who was he a Benson and Hedges man? I think he was the Benson and Hedges man, Stuart Wagstaff. Did an ad.
One of those, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so he was the commentator on there, and great. I didn't see it, but all accounts it was fantastic, of course. And then there's Pin-Ups by David Bowie. I don't even remember that album. Which album's that?
The album, it's just after Diamond Dogs, and it's a bunch of covers. In fact, before, I'd have to check exactly where it fits in the chronology. I think it's between Aladdin Sane and Diamond Dogs, or after Diamond Dogs. It's a bunch of covers.
Right.
Covers the songs mostly from the 60s, from his favourite bands. And he does The Who, the Rolling Stones, Let's Spend the Night Together.
Oh.
That was the song. That's not an invitation.
Okay. Good on him.
Yeah, and some of it's nice. It's like a bookmark in his career. Not his greatest album. Certainly not one that's most regarded as his greatest album.
I don't think I've ever heard it. But anyway,
we can talk after this. I've got.
Look, I'm sure you have. I'll look it up now that I've said it. And then there's a couple of the Bad Companies in there with the original Bad Company album. And I think probably the top of the pops there is My Name Means Horse by Ross Ryan.
I Am Pegasus.
My Name Means Horse.
Indeed.
So that's 1974 of the albums in a nutshell there for you folks. So let's move on to Countdown. Give us a bit of an overview of Countdown, Mick.
Well, Countdown, what a show. Yeah. And as you've already sort of hinted to everyone, we grew up with this show. But it's not just about, I think this podcast is just about what we grew up with. So
yeah,
we can talk about whatever we bloody well like. But Countdown was important for more than just us. I think Countdown is one of those things that is important for the development of Australian music, for the Australian music scene, the way people are today, certainly the way we are today. It ran for 14 years, and whilst we probably weren't watching it so religiously at the end, because really other things get in the way, we still used to watch it fairly often, and even in the late 80s. They had lots of great stuff on it.
Yeah, I think I was married and starting to have children, so I don't think I watched anything really after that.
Yeah, well, you should have had your children sitting there with you in front of Countdown because it would have been pitched right at their level.
Would have been great.
Yep, absolutely. But back in the 70s, we watched it religiously, and you used that word earlier, and it's very true. It was one of those shows where it's on TV.
Sunday night, 6
o'clock.
Yep.
Just in time to get back from whatever you were doing during the day. And we used to race home, whether we were out in cars or out on public transport. We'd make sure that we got the right train home so we could run back to your lounge room.
Yep.
And sit down and watch Countdown.
In the velour chairs.
Absolutely.
The rocker, the recliner rocker that we used to have there. That's fantastic.
While your folks made themselves totally scarce.
Yep. They weren't going to listen to any of that sort of nonsense.
Yep, absolutely. And then we'd talk with other people outside of our little social group, but in the larger social group. Did you see what was on Countdown last night? Yep.
Yeah. And of course there was the iconic presenter who kind of wasn't a presenter really at the beginning, but
I don't know if he was at the end either.
No, that's right. He really was doing it. But Ian Molly Meldrum really was the quintessential mark of Countdown, wasn't he?
He was the man when it came to when it came to Countdown, making Countdown what it was. And we'll go into that some more as we go along. But Molly was, as he was known in Australia and around the world, which is one of the important things about Countdown that I just want to say now. Countdown, an Australian show showing predominantly Australian film clips, interspersed with all of your usual international hits, whatever was on the top 40, or whatever had a good film clip, and also, whoever was touring. Also, sorry.
Right. Oh, so I was going to say, and also those live acts that they always had.
Absolutely. So it wasn't just like MTV was when it started. It was just running the clips.
Well, that was Video Killed the Radio Star, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So and Top of the Pops in the UK. Same thing.
Yeah,
so let's just run the film clips. But Countdown was something a little different. And even though they might have mimed the songs occasionally, they gave us a good idea of what the band looked like, who they were. So it put colour onto the noises we were hearing out of the radio or from our records.
And you see a band like Skyhooks. They'd be there all made up. They would be as they would be in concert, sort of thing.
Absolutely,
so, and the same with even if and there was quite a number of international acts that appeared on there live as well, like Racy. I mean, not my fave.
Well, if you're Racy, you couldn't afford not to be on that show, could you?
That's right. But yeah, no, they had they all and if they didn't appear live musically, they would also often be interviewed by Molly on the show as well. And I think the classic interview of an international artist was Iggy Pop.
Yeah. Who'd have thought that you could have simulated sex with a teddy bear on primetime television?
and Molly there the whole time going, now settle down, Iggy, settle down. And Iggy's obviously high as a kite on something, and he's going he's going nuts. And Molly's there going, settle down, Iggy, come on, mate, come on, settle down. And he's mad as a cut snake.
He certainly was. Yeah. Probably what's important about Countdown, or one of the other things that's important about Countdown, is that it was ours. It was Australian. It was pitched at us. Many of the shows up until that time had been put together by older people, experienced TV people, to show the clips and maybe whatever else they wanted to show. But in a sense, they talked down to people. Countdown was a show that was pitched at us, at our level, teenagers, but boys and girls.
And a live audience as well. So,
absolutely, yeah. And the live audience was 15 and 16-year-old girls in cardies.
Yep, dancing around.
After a fashion.
Whatever it was they were doing. Because really it had no comparison, I don't think, with that genre in Australia. We had Sounds Unlimited on Saturday morning with Donnie Sutherland, which was really a clip show. But and he had interviews as well. But essentially, it was a show with music clips. The Ghost Set was that a show as well for a while?
Ghost Set was a magazine. No,
what was there was another show before then on the ABC, and I can't remember the name of it. But it was went for about 10 minutes or something odd like that of a night before the news. And then there was Flashes. Do you remember Flashes?
I do,
with Ray Burgess.
Yep.
He had a bit of music on there. That was sort of more of a magazine style program though, but he did have some music, and he was a great singer in his own right. With his
Ray.
He used to sing songs that are terrible.
Oh goodness!
That was shocking.
It was certainly a good environment. The TV channels were all really searching for a formula that was going to connect with the kids at the time, because putting it into the context of the economy and Australia socially, 60s, fairly conventional sort of country. We really didn't start to become a booming economy until the 70s.
But are we starting to grow up? I mean, we're sort of the tail end of the boomers.
Yes.
We're hitting our teens, our mid-teens.
Yep.
We're starting to get a bit of money.
All of those things, yes.
Getting a bit of dough. So we've got a little bit of income because we're working Saturday mornings at wherever, Thursday nights or whatever. We've got a bit of income. We actually are something that you can market to.
Yeah, most definitely. And as it happened in the US 20 years before, the young people wanting something that was theirs that rebelled against the parents. Not that Countdown's terribly great rebellion, but as I say, it was ours, and it wasn't a whole bunch of older people telling us what to do, telling us what to listen to. It was Molly, who was the antithesis of professionalism. Mr. Mumble and Fall Over. He was great.
He was, but if you remember though, we would literally watch him and cringe the whole time, because he'd be there mumbling and carrying on, and he'd be interviewing someone, and they wouldn't be listening to him because he would be going you, but he actually had this incredible knowledge of music. He was, and because he'd been writing about music for probably 10 years or more before then. Yep. He was actually been in the studio. He'd been producing. He obviously produced The Real Thing way back. One of the great iconic music songs, and he's
Australian
songs. And then he continued on doing some production work, but realistically, he sort of fell into this role, and he really made it his own. And he became, he ended up travelling the world. He would go over to America. He'd interview some of the biggest bands in the world, and those interviews would come back, and you would see him on the world stage, as well as people being willing to come to the show and be on the show. A lot of you would think a lot of those international acts would think, I'm not going to go on some poppy show with girls dancing around, but they did. They came on the show, and I think it was Molly that pulled them there.
And I think you're right. And because our economy was picking up, we were a market that those bands would have been interested. Now, a band that's big in the States, well, Australia had about the population of California. But nonetheless, it's 20 million people. The teenagers in that population can buy a lot of records and did. And Countdown was a way for those bands and the record companies behind them to get to the kids and say, hey, here's something, because you've seen them, you know what they look like, you feel some sort of connection to them.
And there was a lot of regulars on there too, wasn't there? There was people like John Paul Young. He was a fairly regular occurrence on there.
Who's still a DJ in Newcastle?
No.
Yes.
He's a DJ.
How has the worm turned? Yes.
That's interesting, isn't it? Sherbet were a regular fixer, regular band on there. Jimmy and the Boys used to be on there as well. And I mentioned Jimmy and the Boys in the last podcast because we were talking about, I saw a poster in the local record shop, which is something you don't have very often anymore, a record shop, but there is a resurgence in records. But Jimmy and the Boys, what a great band they were, and Split Enz also. But what was the band that never appeared on Countdown, Mick?
Well, Midnight Oil didn't want to know. There's a story behind that one as well.
Yeah.
Midnight Oil, like every band in Australia, wanted to get onto Countdown. And they were political and anti this and anti that and in favour of the environment, which didn't necessarily fit in with the message of Countdown. But they were popular and their songs were selling, so Countdown wanted them on. So they were booked on, and they had a problem on the day that they were supposed to arrive. And Countdown, whilst it was very shambolic, not least of Molly's interviewing, but the way they did things, and it was very much held together with sticky tape and string, and what you saw on as it went to air, which looked like a disaster on wheels, it actually was by all reports. But Midnight Oil got there late; they had their own problem.
Yep.
And so the producer at the time said, "Sorry guys, can't put you on." Because we've got a schedule to run, and the show was done and dusted. And so Midnight Oil said, "Well, stuff you, we're never going to appear on your show." And Peter Garrett's a bit of a contrary individual on occasions.
But realistically, I think I remember Molly actually pleading with them to go onto the show live on air one time.
Yeah,
and they never did.
They didn't. That's very true. And Midnight Oil, I think that's something that's rankled with Molly ever since.
And because Midnight Oil ended up with quite a large international audience as well, they ended up doing a MTV Unplugged Midnight Oil show as well, and so they actually became a very large band worldwide.
Yeah, was that the one on the back of the truck in front of the stock exchange in New York? Or was that a different one again?
No, it was just in that studio where the same one Nirvana did it, I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. But did they have all? Because you remember Unplugged was sort of a bit of a contrary sort of thing about how many. If you had an acoustic guitar, you'd have drums, and then you'd have an electric bass or something like that. I think from memory, they actually really did have an acoustic bass, an acoustic guitar, and they had some drums there as well. But they actually did do Unplugged, where a lot of the bands actually weren't as unplugged as some others. Anyway.
When you listen to a lot of Midnight Oil stuff, there's whether it's simulated or what, there's a fair degree of acoustic sound in there. Although they were a very big, loud, amplified rock and roll anthem type band.
Yeah. And I mean, used to love seeing the steam coming off his head, that bald head with the steam coming off it.
Oh Lord, and. I mean, we've seen Midnight Oil a few times. Remember once we saw them at the Family Inn at Rydalmere, and another time we saw them at that concert
at Wanda Beach.
That's right. I was going to say Cronulla just to let you pick me up again on it.
Yeah, Wanda.
Yeah. So it had been pouring with rain all day, but they had a huge crowd out there because it was a pretty big gig. Yeah. It was in excess on that bill.
I got a feeling they were.
Yeah.
Because it would have been before they were famous.
Yeah, it was before they were international anyway.
Sherbet were there as well.
Good heavens.
Yeah,
there was bands.
There was a lot of bands that went for a long time, that concert.
It was. And it had been pouring. And so, what's his name? Peter Garrett. Yeah, comes on stage in a pair of Speedos and carrying a surfboard.
Surfboard under his arm. Because, he's always been a big surfer, you could see.
Yeah.
And he did the whole set just in the Speedos.
Well, it stopped his stage gear from getting wet, I guess.
It's just unbelievable. That was an intense concert. That was a great concert, I remember.
It was indeed. And you could never see on Countdown Peter Garrett coming on in Speedos.
No.
Coming on in anything for that matter.
That's right. But interestingly, you sort of talk about it being Australian, but in fact, there's a bunch of bands that really probably would never have made it if it wasn't for Countdown. Like they kind of broke bands like Duran Duran, XTC, Elvis Costello, Joe Jackson, The Cure. Those bands really didn't have a massive push into the Australian radio scene, but Countdown kind of broke them, and they did end up getting onto radio, and they did end up becoming a touring type band as well into Australia.
Well, yeah. It did require some modification for some of those bands. You mentioned The Cure. Now, I love The Cure's really early stuff, 17 Seconds, A Forest, that sort of thing. Their first album, 10:15 on a Saturday night, and the tap drips.
Drip, drip, drip.
Yeah, drip, 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 that's the one. And so they were a little bit weird, and according to Robert Smith, some of the interviews I've read with Robert Smith, they were all carrying pretty big habits at the time. So they're all
religious type people.
Religious, absolutely, yeah. And he's been quite open about it.
Yeah,
that they'd all take heroin and sit around staring at each other, seeing who could be the most depressed. And
sounds like The Cure.
Yeah, and then when they moved that, they moved into almost their second phase, the fun poppy sort of style
for The Cure.
For The Cure, yes, absolutely. Friday, I'm in Love.
Yeah,
and that sort of started it and kicked off a lot of what they did. Similar sound, similar elements of the sound, but the overall songs were poppy.
Yeah, it's not really Get Physical by Olivia Newton-John, is it?
It's not, because I don't think they ever wore leg warmers. But The Cure did that, and that was the sort of thing that was perfect for Countdown, because Robert Smith and the band, they love costumes. So they didn't come on in a pair of in flannels and a pair of ripped jeans. They came on in costume.
I like a band in costumes.
Oh, can't get enough of that costume action.
Yep.
And people like Joe Jackson and you mentioned Elvis Costello. They were successful to some degree overseas, but they were fairly minor. But in Australia, there was nowhere that was going to play them.
Yeah, that's right.
And so they got airplay here in Australia on that particular show. And we'd get really weird stuff like The Cure, like Elvis Costello, like Joe Jackson, like a few that would come on interspersed with racy.
Yes, and Lena Lovitch.
Lena Lovitch, she was great, but she only had one single.
Yeah, and 99 of balloons or whatever it was.
Nina. 99 Luftballon.
Luftballon.
Yes.
That was great.
Still don't know what that song means, but
it's about balloons.
Yeah,
99 of them.
German. Yeah,
German balloons. Yeah. 99 German balloons doing stuff.
Oh, that's fair enough. Okay.
Whatever they were doing, I don't know what they were doing. And of course, realistically, the Australian music scene, I think, really blossomed through that period. And some of the bands were incredibly successful. Bands like Icehouse, became quite successful both here in Australia and overseas. The Angels, not so much overseas, but certainly incredibly successful in Australia. Men at Work became internationally successful.
Yep.
Of course, Skyhooks, well, they weren't internationally successful, but they certainly were very successful.
In some places.
Yeah. They all sort of end up a bit successful in places, don't they? Sort of some bizarre Eastern Bloc country and things like that where they go on tour.
Florida?
Florida?
Skyhooks, of all people. used to play regularly in Florida.
In Florida.
Yeah. Of all
Who
things.
too? The pensioners. They probably weren't. They probably wasn't as big a pensioner place back in those days.
Maybe not. No, you're right. I saw the Angels. I remember the Angels coming onto Countdown, and they appeared their first appearance. Obviously, the fashion, the stylist had got to them and said, "Guys, you'd look really good in white shirts and thin black ties. Capitalise on this new wave punky sort of thing."
Is that
and
right?
They came on and they sang, "Am I ever going to see your face again?"
And there wasn't any retort back when they first did that, was there, back in the day?
No, not the one that became popular at their live shows later on.
And I don't even know. Do you have any idea where that? I didn't even know it existed until sort of later, and I heard about it later because we saw them lots, and it didn't exist.
I never saw it at I never saw or heard it at a concert, but it's recorded. It's on a number of different proper recordings.
Don't know where it came from though.
Yeah.
Don't know where it came from.
But that was fairly popular, fairly common. Hush, another band from that time that was also very popular on Countdown. Hush had a song called Get Rocked, and you can well imagine how that translated live.
Yeah, that's right. And, of course, one of my favourites is Gary Shearston.
The one about something about a plane?
I get no kick.
That's the one, yes.
From champagne. Mere alcohol doesn't thrill me at all because I get a kick out of you. Just interestingly, we're talking about Sherbet and, the other one. How about this one? The Moyer sisters.
Oh, God. I'm relying on you. You've thrown it up. You talk about it.
Good morning, how are you? It's nice to see your face. No, I didn't really like them or anything, but just remember them. The Moyer sisters, there were three girls.
It made a big impression on me.
Clearly. So, however, you look at someone like Sherbet, which really ended up being such a massive band in Australia.
Yep.
And I've just flicked to my David Kent chart book in Australia on Australian music. 24 top 100 singles.
That's pretty good by anybody's reckoning, isn't it?
And 14 albums.
Wow.
They had, just quickly, they had 2 number one singles, numerous in the top 10, like many, and then 2 number one albums, numerous albums in the top 10. So very successful band from 1971 through to 1984, believe it or not.
And throughout almost that entire time, or from 74 onwards, they were a staple on Countdown. They were perfect for Countdown. Targeted at teenagers, and one key group was young girls. You know, that 15 through 17 age group. Daryl was a good-looking fellow.
He was.
The band were all, they didn't have extra arms or anything like that. So that they were all what passes for good Australian males,
Right.
and they had some great poppy songs, which were terrific for the girls to dance as the band got up there and mimed the songs live.
And I'll give you another one. We talked briefly about John Paul Young, another one who had 16 top 100 songs over the time from 1972 through to 1992, believe it or not. But he re-released "Lovers in the Air" by the looks of things.
Oh no!
But if realistically, it's from 15 number one singles from 1972 to 1984, and 7 albums. So. Prolific machines back in those days.
Well, John Paul Young, who you've just talked about, he was fairly typical of that core Countdown group in that Molly couldn't host a show to save his socks.
That's
so
right.
They had regular guest hosts, so they'd have a different guest host every week. And John Paul Young, or Squeak as they called him, on the show, he was a regular host. So he was professional. He was able to appeal to the audience, both on TV and the studio audience. And he could get up there and add an element of professionalism, talking to the bands and introducing them and so on, while Molly did the Molly bits, talking about new albums and where he was going next. Yeah,
Humdrum.
Exactly right, the humdrum.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Lovers in the Air in 1992 was probably would have been a re-release with the
I'd say so, yeah.
with the movie, what's that dancing movie? can't remember off the top of my head. Doesn't matter. Move on. The Australian movie.
There's Paul Mercurio in it.
That's the one.
I can't remember it though.
Ballroom.
It's Strictly Ballroom.
Yeah, there we go.
Well done.
Hallelujah, brothers and sisters. We got there eventually.
Yeah.
So I think realistically we I don't know. Has there been another show like it in Australia? I don't think so.
I shudder to think. I can't imagine there's been a show like it anywhere in the world.
I mean, is the film clip still a big thing in the world? I don't know.
Don't know. It's so much else has changed. God, you sound old when you talk about this sort of thing.
I know. It's because we are getting old.
Yeah, that's frightening.
Now, I'll tell you what I have done though, Mick. We talked about this starting in 1974. Another recommendation for your listening pleasure from me is a playlist that I've put together up on our preferred playlist offering, which has the top 10 songs from 1974 matched with the top 10 songs from essentially right now. And so if you want to listen to what the songs were like in 1974 compared to what they're like now, I've put together a playlist up there. It's called 1921 versus 1974. You've got some great songs in there, such as My Cuckoo by Alvin Stardust and The Night Chicago Died by Paper Lace. I know that's been a big favourite of yours over many years.
Oh, I've got 17 different mixes of that song.
And, of course, Can't Stop Myself from Loving You by William Shakespeare. Next to Justin Bieber, Dua Lipa, Till to J, something, number 6 with the LAC. I don't know these artists, but anyway, they're there. Have a listen. I encourage you to have a listen, Mick. I only just put that up the other day, so I think you should have a listen to that playlist because
bring yourself up to speed.
Bring yourself up to speed. You're bloody flaying around back in the 1974. You should be listening to 2021, mate.
You could be right. You could be right. I'm going to do that next week. I'm going to talk about somebody different.
Fair enough.
Someone who's not dead or recorded their albums in the 70s.
What about Kid Laroi?
Been a big fan of his stuff ever since his first album.
Sorry, it's The Kid Laroi.
Oh, yeah.
His song Without You.
Yeah.
So I think we'd like to see a bit of, and of course Olivia Rodrigo. Another.
Yeah. Livy, as we call her. Yeah.
Liv.
Which
Liv Mason. Do you remember Liv Mason? She was on Countdown.
Something about a bird or a sparrow or something. I don't know.
I don't know. She did. She had that really deep singing voice. Yeah. She only got a couple of songs up there. It would have been right back at the beginning of Countdown.
Yeah, early 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liv Mason.
But abbreviating those names, that's what Molly used to do. For anybody who came on the show, he's talking to them, they ended up with the nickname or an abbreviation of their name. So Olivia Newton-John became our Livy.
Oh, yes.
Right. John Paul Young became Squeak.
Oh, that's right.
And his joke feud with Rod Stewart, the regular names were thrown in there into the discussion.
Ah, yeah. I always thought of her as Olivia Neutron Bomb, of course. So
of course.
That was the standard for us.
Yeah, she was certainly a well-turned-out young lady at the time.
Yeah. Checkered career, though, really, didn't she? She had that business in LA, the Billy Blue or something.
Koala Blue.
Yeah. And then threw her husband to the Sharks in Queensland. Was that it? Was that her?
Sounding like it's ringing a bell. I don't know how musical that is.
No, but one of her husband died. Some suspicious death somewhere or something like that.
Oh dear!
And then she lost a breast through breast cancer.
That's a pretty big load to bear for people, isn't it?
Big CV.
Yeah. Did you know that? I think our listeners could go onto YouTube and find the odd episode of Countdown. And there's still a few. Just pick something at random. It's all as shambolic as each other, every episode that's there. But ABC lost a cache of around 100 episodes of Countdown, 2 years worth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because as a budget measure, they thought, it's just a pop show. just a pop show. Yeah. So they taped over the film. That was back pre-digital.
Oh my
So back in the
God.
days when it was film and they could reuse it, recycle it, they did. 100 episodes gone forever.
I wonder who the person's name was that did that.
Yeah,
You'd want to hurt them, wouldn't you?
yeah. That's a very silly thing to do.
Yeah, no, you will find. We'll put a couple of links to a couple of Countdown episodes or whatever that we can find. It'd be good if we can find a few humdrums to link to as well for people to have a look at the man that he was. I did actually see an interview with Molly the other day because he had that accident a few years ago and fell off his roof and got.
He's not so well now, is he?
No, he's got quite a bit of a speech impediment. Sort of because he had a severe head injury, so his speech is a little bit affected there. But he still knows what's going on, but his speech is fairly badly affected, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lesson there for everybody: don't put Christmas lights up on your roof, because that's what happened. He fell off the roof.
It's obvious.
Looked after people who've fallen off the roof. They do get head injuries, unfortunately. It's not very good.
Yeah.
All right, anything else you want to bring up around Countdown, mate?
Mate, there is just so much about Countdown and so many memories. Abba, it's arguable that Abba wouldn't have been the success that they were around the world without Molly Meldrum and Countdown, because Abba was a staple on the show. They rarely appeared because they obviously had to tour, but their songs were often in they'd play the film clip of Abba. And ABBA got a regular run on Countdown, and their singles. It could be argued that their support in Australia, which was one of their key markets for their entire career, was totally founded and supported by Countdown. Closer to home, AC/DC. Whilst you'd be somewhat of a lunatic to try and claim that Countdown was instrumental in AC/DC's success. They were going to be a success anyway. But to show you how important Countdown was to every Australian band, you recall the clip in 1975, and you've probably seen it on clip shows and on the TV, of AC/DC doing "It's a Long Way to the Top" on the back of a truck.
Yes, I do.
Now that clip was specifically made for Countdown.
Is that right?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So when a band like Akadaka records a film clip for a pop show, that just tells you how important and how influential that show is.
I mean, it was cringeworthy at times, I must admit, that show, but nonetheless,
That was its charm.
Yeah, it was a bit, hokey sort of thing at times, but nonetheless, it was a great show and one that
It was fashionable to knock it. And
absolutely, particularly Molly. He copped a caning a lot of the time, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then he ended up on Hey Hey It's Saturday on a weekly basis.
Dear. Along with Red.
With Red.
Yep.
Your career's on the downhill slide when you're looking to there. Anyway, look, I think we might wrap it up for this one, mate. And so thanks very much for listening, everybody. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We'll have the links in the show notes, and we've enjoyed this one. So we're going to we'll do some more Australian content as we go forward, and make sure you have a listen to that. If you want to get in contact with us, as I say, you can either hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or email us. The addresses are there in the show notes, and also rate us on Apple. But be nice if you don't mind. And we'll see you soon, everybody.